Hi guys, it's Tom Young. Today, I gotta move some cars. Some of them are running and some of them are not. So one person just has to find a way to do it, and here we go. So the blue Targa that's sitting in the center that I'm moving belongs to a friend of mine. I don't work on them, but was just helping him out, getting an inspection. Next car was my 996, which shot that out real quick. 330 GTC, that's running and driving, but just waiting to get some interior done on it. So sometimes I feel like I'm playing that little tile game where one slot's out, another one slot's got to move this, move that. The PF Coupe, that car is getting ready to go to Cavallino. So honestly, I can pull that one off of the four-post lift and get that one in center and get that one ready. It's pretty much ready to go. But the main reason why all these cars are being moved today was that I wanted to get working on this 250 GTE. The other car on my lift is going through a restoration, so it's kind of stuck on there until I can get a little bit more progress. And I wanted to get this one up in the air. So since the PF Coupe had to come down, I could move this GTE onto the four-post and get it up in the air. But by myself, I had to just figure out a way to get it up on the lift, even though it doesn't have an engine. It's not that high. It's probably less than 6 inches, but without an engine and by myself, I had to come up with another way. So the first idea was to just get it lined up. And then what I did was I got a cable puller, as we call it a come along, put a strap on it and hooked it to the back side of the lift, figuring that all I really needed to do is just get the rear tires just high enough off onto the ramps, so then I could push it on a little bit more. Had to figure out what straps I had, where to put the strap on the rear axle, and then just start slowly pulling it up onto the lift. As it slowly started to get up on the lift, I started to realize that the car wasn't perfectly lined up. So I kind of had to get it back into position and get it a little bit straighter so that the wheels would line up on the ramps. So the story on this car is that it came out of another shop, and I was asked to help put it back together. But the frustrating thing about it is the last couple of years, every time I started working on this car, I would find something missing, and I'd have to search and try to find the part. And it's hard because it's hard to charge for hours of work and time on the phone, and you don't find anything. So I kind of made it a little side project to find parts whenever I could or when I was talking to people. And through the years, I've managed to get most of the pieces. But this winter, I decided it was time to really make a concerted effort to finish it. And so hopefully you'll see some more action on this car in the near future. Now that I got the car up in the air, let's talk about what I have to do. It's quite a bit of stuff. I mean, just all sorts of things about assembly after paint. Also, not to mention, it's been sitting a while. So I'll show you where I got from the last time I've been working on this car. The suspension is basically installed. It's the nuts and bolts still need to be tightened. Some of the pivot areas and shocks and things like that have nuts and bolts that just need to be tightened down now that the car is on the ground. I was thinking about letting it settle down a little bit more, just simply because there's no engine. So sometimes tightening everything up on the pivots is probably better to wait until things are in. The first thing I did on the car was rebuild the pedal box. The clutch and brake box just needed to come out because I wanted to do the lines. I ran all the brake lines from the calipers and put new hardware and ran these brake lines to the front, but I wanted to get them to the master cylinder, which on a Ferrari, it's on the underneath the floor. So it sits and comes off of this pedal box. and the lines run above it. So before I did the lines, I wanted to get the pedal box rebuilt and get all the bearings cleaned out and all that other stuff. So that's going to get done. Floors are in pretty good shape, you know, typical, you know, Ferrari undercoating, and just really thick laid down there. So just that's got to be cleaned up. I ran new fuel lines and new brake lines, like I said, through here. Just need to put some clips and things like that to secure them. And a couple little things I want to try to address. These crazy long bolts for seatbelt anchors. I'm going to take a look at how strong they look on the top side and maybe figure out, at the very least, cut these down. I mean, they're kind of a little long. And in the rear suspension, I got to just take care of as well. Just like I said, tighten down some of the suspension bolts and things. But the next issue I have to take care of is this rear pinion seal. I got to get this measured and put a new pinion seal in, get a new U-joint, and get that kind of going too. So that's that story. I also think I have to look for this pinion nut, because when I got this car, it was partially disassembled, and I don't believe that pinion nut came with the car. So again, another piece I've got to find. Here's a good example of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. This is the master cylinder that comes out of the Ferrari. I'm going to end up getting a new one. These things are available. So instead of trying to rebuild this one and figure out if the cast iron bore inside of this thing is rusty and all this other stuff, I can just buy a new one. However, when I was looking at lines to rebuild it, I looked at what I had as far as what came out of the car and this box of pieces that came, and this is the stuff that came. So I started putting together these lines and figuring out where they went to and what they went to, and it soon became apparent that I didn't have everything that I needed. I needed a banjo fitting that came off the back. So basically, if you understand how a master cylinder works, the output of the master cylinder is on the back end of it, and there's this fitting on the back which takes a banjo fitting, and what they do is, this is an electric switch on the back of it, which is the brake light switch. Now this is probably no good. These things break all the time. But what also happens is this particular switch is no longer available. So I make this modification where I can actually get a new pressure switch. I actually use this fitting, clean this thing up, and take all the rust off, obviously, and put a modern pressure switch in place of this one. They make these new low pressure switches, and I basically take and cut this fitting off and put a pipe fitting on the end of it, and install a new switch on it by using modifying this particular fitting. However, we're missing the banjo fitting that fits here. So this particular banjo fitting fits, and then this fitting goes on here like that on the end of the banjo fitting. So again, stopped in my tracks of work, because now I have to find a banjo fitting. But luckily, a friend of mine had it, and had a box of parts from cars that had been parted out, and is sending me a banjo fitting. So that's 1 step. I do have the filler side of this, because then on this master cylinder, it also takes another banjo fitting on the top, and that comes from the fill line. I have that fitting, so luckily I can do that, but that needs to be silver soldered into the line and all that other good stuff. But again, I can take care of that. But again, always just on this car, that's just been frustrating, is just you make some progress, you get the pedal box rebuilt, you start to put the master cylinder together, and then all the pieces, and then you find out you're missing another piece. But I'm determined to make some progress on this car, and the only way to do it is just to keep pushing. So you find a missing banjo, you go and look for it, and you try to find sources that have it, and keep moving forward. Thanks for watching.